Now, let me quickly move that to 3 basic ideas, and I'm going to do that in 5 minutes. The first one is stewardship of private property. The reason people make mistakes in public office is because these are people who for 25 years of their life or 40 years have mastered ownership. They've mastered how to own things of private property. And it makes sense. So when somebody has mastered ownership of private property, he gets into government and you want him to supply stewardship of public property. The common denominator there is ownership or stewardship. Forget about the property. Whether it is public property or private property, the character he has mastered will overwhelm that property. So for 40 years, this guy is a master of ownership, and justifiably so. He has created his entire life, his business, everything, mastering ownership. Nobody has questioned him or held him accountable based on stewardship. I know somebody who is very rich who pays his house help 35,000 naira. Any income you pay anybody that cannot do 3 things is slavery. If the income cannot help that person to meet his basic needs in life, eating, clothing, going out. If the income cannot help him to put something away, otherwise called savings, if that income cannot help him to help somebody around him to find meaning, that is slavery. If income cannot do that, it's either you appeal to that person to support you on that job by working for you with the little you can pay, not to harass that person for paying money that is only for slaves, assuming there is legitimacy to slavery. So the idea is ownership of private property will never deliver any society. What will deliver societies is stewardship of private property, not public property first. When you learn to be stewardship of what you seemingly own, to be a steward of what you seemingly own, then to supply stewardship of what is not yours is the easiest thing that will ever happen. And so we have to find a way to hold people accountable to how they use their personal resources. The things that they own by themselves. For example, how do you pay your staff? For example, how do you pay people around you? Critical things. Let me move because I see her, she's already climbing. Before she gets here, I'll finish. There's something we have to kill in Nigeria, and this is my last thought. If we don't kill it, we joke. And that is the concept of indigenization. 2 brothers in America, one from Texas, both of them from Texas. But one was governor of Texas, another one was governor of Florida. From the same family, same mother, same father. 2 brothers, governor of 2 different states. It can never happen in Nigeria. The reason why it happened in America is because there's nothing called indigenization there. What they have in America is citizenship. Above any, it doesn't matter where you are born, if you meet the rules that define citizenship, then you can be governor. You see, the average Yoruba man like me, before I am a Yoruba man, I'm first of all from Remo. You'll be surprised how I will defend Remo affairs above any other thing. Then, when you can minister to me as a Remo person, then I can consider that I'm from Ogun State. Before I am from Ogun State, I'm first of all from Remo. That's the average person I'm talking about, not me. And then, before that person is a Yoruba person, is first of all from Ogun State. So how do you define that man who has sentiments and prejudices that transcend the limits of the identification you want him to live to or you want him to rise to? So before he's a Nigerian, he's first of all a Yoruba man. Before he's a Yoruba man, he's first of all an Igbo man. He's first of all an Ogun State man. Before he's from Ogun State, first of all from Remo. You see what I'm saying? The same thing applies in the East. The same thing applies in Lagos, anywhere. So the idea is, how do we legislate this? That is courage. Now, the courage to actually come out boldly and say that we are going to actually legislate indigenization out of our reality. It will take a tough thing. It will take a lot of persecution. But let me tell you something about persecution. Persecution strengthens resolve, builds regimentation, and grows community. Whether it's the gay movement, or it's Christianity, or it's Islam, anything you persecute will grow. So the innovators of thought and those who campaign must be bold enough to create ideas, really, that will endure persecution. And one more minute. 1 more minute, I'm getting out of your face. 1 more minute. I've said it before at the last platform. We need 3 people in any society. 3 groups of people. Entrepreneurs above politicians. Innovators above politicians. Non-profits above politicians. And that is where I want to challenge all of you. Everybody in this room, you have a personal social responsibility. It's called PSR. Forget about CSR. There's a lot of bureaucracy that defines that. PSR is tied to your will, and integrity is an act of will. Start from there and say to yourself, before you complain about what the government is doing, what do you want to do? I believe there should be about 25 different non-profits agitating for the rights of the police force. I believe there should be about 25% agitating for the rights or the welfare of veterans in the military or the military itself. I believe there should be another rights of people fighting for the rights of children or for the sanity of families. There just have to be a way on many levels that we can identify all the problems in society and we can build non-profits that actually challenge all of these things. Now that takes personal freedom, but that takes more than freedom, personal sacrifice. The right to say I will not be bribed is critical, but the sacrifice to say I'm willing to die for that commitment is even deeper. And so that is where sacrifice begins from. As I close, I want you all to reflect into your own personal journey and begin to ask yourself only one question as you move towards 2023. Nigeria will change based on some existential factors. By 2030, whether we like it or not, and by 2050 by extension, 3 things will happen in Nigeria, whether we like it or not. I've told everyone that has come to meet me to fight for the rights of young people and to lead some campaigns that I'm not interested, because nature is doing the job. Because nature is doing that job, nobody should pursue things as you should position for things. What is happening is that whether we like it or not, there is the fading of voices and powers as you know it. It's ongoing. There is the rise of voices and powers as you are yet to know. It's ongoing. Nature is taking care of that. In 30 years' time, Nigeria will be new. It's whether we'll be ready or not. If you are 1 in 30 years, you'll be 31. If you are 20 in 30 years, you'll be 50. If you are 30, you'll be 60. If you are 50, you'll be 80. If you are 60, you'll be 90. If you are 70, you'll be dead. In 30 years' time, the truth of the matter is that there is a natural flavor coming. And whether we like it or not, everybody you hate in government is going in 30 years. And most of them will take a position of weakness in society. It will be your turn to take a stand. The question should be whether you'll be ready or not. And that comes from only one thing: positioning. God bless you.